Hey friends, today we have a super juicy and somewhat scary story to dive into. Imagine being torn between your dream home and your relationship. Sounds intense, right? Well, that's exactly what our viewer is going through.
My fiancé 35M is against me 30F buying us property as he wants us to live with his parents. Would you buy a house, even if it means the end of a relationship? Since my fiancé, male 35, proposed, we have become very distant. He doesn't want to leave his parents' house and wants us to move in with my in-laws. No plans to add a second kitchen or create a relatively private environment for us. I was studying for many years in different countries and used to live with plenty of roommates, but I feel like I need to finally settle and have some nest for my family only. Also, he pushes me to get pregnant as soon as possible, as he is in his 35s, and it's about time. I am 30, but not ready for the kids, especially under this pressure. Nor do I want to live with my in-laws. They are good people, they love me, but I feel like walking on eggshells when I am visiting them. All I ever dreamt of was my own house. And I have saved some solid sum to buy one, even though it still needs more investment before we can move in. There is a problem. I have never been so close to my dream, but also I am torn between my fiancé, who is stubbornly against me buying anything. According to him, he doesn't want to live in a property bought with my money. That's hurting his ego. However, he does not agree to rent one together.
Whoa, talk about a pressure cooker situation. She is feeling torn between her dream of owning a home and her relationship. She's close to her dream but feels like buying a house might end things with her fiancé. What would you do in her shoes? Would you prioritize your dream home or your relationship?
Buy the house. Your fiancé isn't ready to be an adult, and it's never going to get better if he doesn't leave his parents' house. The pushing for a baby business is also a giant red flag. He's trying to trap you and lock you down so you'll be dependent upon him. Lock up your birth control ASAP.
This post and the one above are spot on. Don't be surprised, OP, that he expects you to participate in supporting his family. You're not intended to be a full partner, but rather a doormat. Run, now. Buy your house and reside there by yourself.
Let's break it down. On one hand, Jane has always dreamed of having her own home. She's saved for it, and she's ready to invest more to make it perfect. On the other hand, her fiancé's pride is getting in the way, and he's refusing to compromise. Plus, he's pushing for kids when she's not ready, especially under these stressful circumstances.
I completely agree. Just buy your home, OP. You don't have the same goals in life with this 35-year-old man who doesn't want to leave his parents' home. Walk away and don't look back. Eventually you will find an adult to get into a relationship with, and he wouldn't be living with mommy and daddy.
So, he's 35 years old and he wants to live with you and his parents? Isn't that red flag enough?
In some cultures, it's actually traditional to live with mommy and daddy and move your wife in when you get married and have children. However, it doesn't sound like OP lives in one of those cultures. So I vote for ditching the man baby and bolting for the hills.
You deserve your own home, your own peace, and your own plan for your life. Not just to be a tag-along in his. You deserve a partner who wants those things for you and with you.
The only thing I would add is dump and run.
And whatever you do, do not put his name on the deed if you buy a house, otherwise he owns half of your house if you break up. But honestly, any partner that threatens to dump you if you buy your first home and damage his fragile ego really isn't a great catch anyway. Buy your dream home and let him stay with mommy and daddy forever. Owning a home is a lot of work, but it's so worth it. You've worked hard to be able to achieve this goal, and in a healthy relationship your partner should be over the moon with happiness for you, not threatening to leave because you won't move in with his parents and start popping out babies. Throw the whole man back and go live your dream. You've earned it.
If I could shout an amen, I would. This advice. Stack up on birth control, don't have a child with a man with red flags, please lady. Buy your property and another man will come. This boy is still a boy and not yet a man.
This brings up some big questions. Should she stand her ground and buy her dream home, even if it means risking her relationship? Or should she compromise and move in with her in-laws, sacrificing her dream and her sense of privacy? And what about the pressure to have kids? Is it fair for her fiancé to push her into such a life-changing decision?
Absolutely. I chain my knees together and secure the chain with a solid steel lock.
OP, is this a new development, or you know this will happen already? I think OP knows this is going to happen, but she thinks he may change. They weren't compatible, and they are not going to suddenly become compatible once they get married. Leave now. A breakup is better than a divorce. Don't ignore red flags. It will become a crimson bloody river.
Please consider not marrying a man-child. You would be part of the ugliest threesome ever. A man, his wife, and a mother who won't let him go.
Get your own place. Do not live with your in-laws. I scream this every chance I get. Unless it's absolutely necessary, do not live with your in-laws. Even if they're the most lovely people in the world, it is an unnecessary stress and you'll never truly feel at home. Get your place. If he leaves you over this, it's for the best. Trust me. I live with my MIL. I love her as my own mother, but it is a horrible situation to be in.
One viewer left a pretty passionate comment, and I just have to share it with you all. They said, "Get your own place. Do not live with your in-laws." I scream this every chance I get. Unless it's absolutely necessary, do not live with your in-laws. Even if they're the most lovely people in the world, it is an unnecessary stress and you'll never truly feel at home. Get your place. If he leaves you over this, it's for the best. Powerful words from someone with first-hand experience. What do you all think? Is living with in-laws ever a good idea, or is it a recipe for disaster?
This made me laugh. Buy my own house, sure. Live with my in-laws, not in a million years. Not if I was paid to live with them. And my relationship with my husband, who does not like his parents, still would have died a quick death under that hostile environment. I think it's a bad idea to ever live with family.
My BF lives with his MIL because she's disabled and can't live on her own, but I took her in when she got ill. It was part of the deal when we met, as I took his son in and I love him like my own. Even though it's not ideal for intimacy and we're lucky she's not able to walk in on us having sex. It's definitely not the same dynamic here. It's cringy AF.
Another viewer shared their unique situation, and that's a lot to juggle. It just goes to show how complicated living with in-laws can be, even when it's for the right reasons. What do you all think? Can love and compromise outweigh the awkwardness?
My husband and I let my parents move into our home for a couple of years. It was a miserable existence. We finally had to utilize eviction lawyers/police to get my parents out. My kids were afraid of my mom. I'm not sure if there was something medically going on. My dad would not take her to the doctor. Physically, she seemed healthy, but my mother physically assaulted me. So long story short, I haven't seen her since that day. Our lawyers arranged for her movers to pick up her stuff 3 months later. I had to pack up her stuff. I haven't seen my parents since 2015. My parents and kids asked for NC, so I agreed. So I'm a pretty big advocate for not living with family. It was messy and upsetting.
I'm so sorry you had to go through this mess with your parents and having your kids live this bad experience. My MIL is showing signs of dementia and I'll never take her in. My mom is the sweetest heart ever and so grateful. We try our best to give her the best life despite her disability.
My parents, well, they were going to lose their house, so my parents did a fast sale and moved in with us, moving my kids into one room together, and my parents had 2 bedrooms, one they used as a bedroom and one as a living/office space. My mom put kitchen stuff in the kitchen, dining stuff in the dining, but got rid of her dining table. The house was pretty cramped. They initially gave us $500 in rent. Honestly, we went up $300 in water the first month. The air conditioning was atrocious. My mom liked the pace of the Arctic. But we wanted them to have money for holidays, and as such we just stopped the dollar altogether. There were lots of issues. The main one was that my mom is a religious nut. To the point she had seen a counselor for it, and she had broken a lot of our boundaries. Our youngest was really confused with everything my mom was saying. We have an alarm system with motion sensors. I guess she was flipping off the motion sensors like we were watching her. So everything went downhill fast. I was super sad when everything exploded. Besides not being religious, I still was close to my mom, so I was hurt by the fallout. I understand why I'm in this position. Occasionally we get religious letters. They went to our lawyer after the first few. He basically said they are not worth reading. So I have finally been able to look at childhood photos and been okay. I'm glad I have my husband and my boys.
My family lived with my grandmother's sister who never married or had children of her own. She was not a bad person, but she had some medical and psychological problems that made her very difficult to live with. My parents split up after almost 20 years of marriage, and my mom thinks that living with our aunt was a huge contributing factor.
It definitely puts stress on the marriage in ways people don't even think about. Like, I want to make garlic chicken for dinner, but MIL doesn't like garlic chicken, so I have to make a different chicken dish. To my MIL's credit, she offers to order something for herself instead. But if there is any hope of this scenario ending, she needs to be more financially secure, so I don't want her to spend money when I can just make barbecue chicken instead. And when she's here, my siblings IL think of it as mom's house, so they come and go as they please and make themselves at home. My BIL is currently furious with me because I told him he can't use our bathroom until he learns how to put the fucking seat down. And when SIL comes over for coffee, she can at least put the mug in the kitchen sink instead of leaving it wherever. So I'm just this big mad ogre in their eyes, and I'm just trying to live in some sort of world where I can enjoy my own home. My wife agrees with me about all of this, but she hates confrontation, so when I say something to someone about not leaving the back door wide open, putting dirty dishes in the sink, not yelling at my dogs or feeding them pizza, she feels like she has to apologize. And again, this is in a situation where, with a few exceptions, I genuinely love my in-laws. But this living situation has definitely strained that. I barely talk to my own family anymore because I'm so exhausted by them I don't have the bandwidth.
Wow, another viewer shared a really eye-opening story about how living with extended family can put unexpected stress on a marriage. It's not just about the big issues, but the everyday annoyances too. From cooking different meals to dealing with in-laws who treat your home like their own. It's a lot to handle. And when you're the one always enforcing boundaries, it can make you feel like the bad guy. Even with good intentions and love, this kind of living situation can seriously strain relationships. What do you think? How much should we compromise for family, and where do we draw the line?
It's rough, and that's why I use all caps to warn people. This is a best-case scenario, with people who I genuinely like, but it is the little things that wear people down. Fortunately, my wife and I are a pretty good team, and she knows that if she had to live with my family day in and day out, as much as she loves them, she would be miserable. She's great and gets me a hotel room once or twice a month so I can just be alone in silence, and I appreciate it, but I'd rather be able to just lounge on my own couch and watch Netflix all day instead.
LOL, he wants to live with mommy and daddy. OP, I guarantee you do not want to live with him in your own house. Buy it and end the relationship. If you somehow convince him to move in with you after you buy a house, guess who's going to take the place of mommy and have to take care of him and do everything for him? You.
Get a house and live your life as you want it. You already answered it for yourself. You want different things than he does. He pushes you into a life that you don't want to live in. Make a clean cut. This guy sounds like a red flag. Better it hurts now a bit than waking up and regretting everything you renounced yourself.
I really don't get this. Perhaps it is a cultural thing. He is 35 and wants his soon-to-be wife to live with his parents. Does he not have money so you could buy the property together? I think this situation is very telling. Even if you did get him to agree to move out, he has already shown you what he wants, and it is to stay with his parents forever. The question is what you want reasonable? The answer is yes, so you should go for it. Don't let your partner hold you back or force you into living with his parents, which you won't like.
Building a life with someone requires agreeing on what you want that life to look like. There are some things a couple can compromise on, and some that will fundamentally be deal breakers. For example, if he wants to have kids ASAP and you'd rather wait 3 to 4 years, a possible compromise could be starting to try for kids in about a year. Living with parents/in-laws isn't really something you can compromise on, especially because there won't be any kind of private/separate space. You either do it or you don't, and you shouldn't do it if you'll be miserable. I'm also worried about his attitude towards living somewhere that you bought and his claim that it's hurting his ego. That seems to be a potential red flag around attitudes towards women, your independence and his need to feel like he's got a certain role in your relationship. If you're going to stay with him, I really suggest you have some deep, investigative conversations about this. Honestly, it looks from my perspective like the things you want from your life and the things he wants from his might be too different to be compatible. Make sure your birth control is something he can't tamper with, and consider your next steps.
I laughed way too hard at this. I can just picture him whining, but he'll have to buy the house with my money that he doesn't have. She'll get pregnant, and when she takes maternity leave he'll berate her for not contributing financially and using him for his money. He can't pull that shit if she's the one buying the house, so that's why he won't let her.
Living with the in-laws would be a deal breaker to me already, and it sounds like it is to you, too. You're also on a different timeline when it comes to children, and he has a problem with you investing. This looks like there are way more issues than just you buying a house, and all of them appear to be deal-breaking.
I would not marry this man. He is too attached to his parents and has never lived independently from them.
Failure to launch. He wants to suck you into his living situation instead of branching out and becoming self-sufficient. He wants to trap you with a kid. It sounds like the relationship has run its course. You and him aren't growing together, you are growing apart. Living at his parents' home, he should have a nice nest egg saved. Instead of using it to create a life together, he is trying to force you to sacrifice your comfort.
Just tell him that it's a deal breaker living with his parents, and that you will continue to pursue buying property.
Sounds to me he wants a free live-in bang maid and carer for his parents.
Respectfully, why are you planning to get married when these fundamental differences between the two of you exist? Your age and fear of missing out. Even if one or the other of you bend, you will end up unhappy. You need to end the relationship and find someone who wants a similar living situation as you.
That's a bold and very valid point. Marrying someone when you have such fundamental differences can lead to a lot of unhappiness down the road. It's important to find a partner whose vision for the future aligns with yours. Fear of missing out or age pressures shouldn't push you into a marriage that doesn't feel right. Ending the relationship now might be the best move to find someone who shares your dreams and values. Speaking of shared values, let's look at another story from one of our viewers who faced a similar dilemma but handled it a bit differently.
We were together for one beautiful year before that. Lots of trips and experiencing new things together. I knew this might lead to marriage one day. It's his first serious relationship, 35Y, and I knew he was very close with his mom and dad. He was treating everyone with respect and kindness. Honestly, this is also our biggest issue. He only sees us living with the in-laws. I said yes because we were ready for marriage and kids. But for me, it means creating our own family, for him adding me to the existing one. The house I found is close to his family in the same town because I wanted to compromise. Our disagreements are red flags for me and are the main reasons why I don't want to rush with marriage or kids. My boyfriend invested in rebuilding their old house a few years back and it looks nice. However, it just has one separate room and the rest is a common space. The mother is a great example of an educated German teacher and splendid housekeeper. She washes and cooks for him. We are just two very different women, even though we are fine during our family gatherings. This is what hurts him the most, why I am not moving into their house. My parents treated you so well. Instead, you want me to live and possibly invest into a house that you have bought with your money. I will be feeling like a forever guest. On top of that, he also has a flat that he rents. He has never offered, and I did not dare to suggest living there together. I don't put my nose into his business, nor do I have the right to decide on his property. I am far from being ideal. Overweight, always anxious, working long hours, managerial position, and could work better on our relationship. My psychologist made it worse, stating that it is my duty as a woman to be more submissive, loving, and sneaky. To try living with the in-laws and then with years, my fiancé might agree to be more independent. To be honest, I don't know what women should do and shouldn't. The relationships are not ideal, and it's fine. But I often think, am I normal for not wanting to have kids from him now? Maybe I am sabotaging my happiness by not finding a compromise and following my dream. I will have a house to live there alone. Thank you all for answering. You are right. We might think we are similar and in love, but our needs are very different, which destroys our possible future. P.S. No, we are not an Indian family. We live in Central Europe.
I really encourage you to ditch the man and the psychologist. What the fuck? You deserve so much better. Hell, better living alone with cats, or dogs if you're a dog person, than in that situation. You got this.
You need a new psychiatrist. The one you have is biased in a sexist way. That's disgusting. She's shit. Move on. A pet rock could do better, cause it doesn't say dumb wrong, misogynistic bullshit.
Oh wow, you really need a new psychologist. It's 2024, partners should be equal. You don't have to be submissive to your man-child, hopefully. You deserve your own happiness and independence. He wants mommy and a bang maid. You deserve better.
Oh my god, get a new psychologist. This one is stuck in the past. Submissive? Is this some sort of cult? Dump this man, baby. He will make your life miserable. Lock down your birth control too. The last thing you want is to be a baby trapped.
Ah, Central Europe. That makes a lot of sense now. Honestly, I wouldn't move in with them, but your dream house and make it your own. He's a mommy's boy, and he'll probably not grow out of that. You'll be feeling like a guest in their house for the foreseeable future or forever, and he's not understanding that. Just buy the house. He's welcome to join you and start your lives together, or he can go cling to his mommy.
Buy the house. He's made it clear that he doesn't actually want a life for the both of you. Don't sell yourself short trying to keep him happy. I bought a house during a relationship that I subconsciously knew had an expiration date, and it was one of the best decisions I ever made. The peace I have now is worth so much more than my ex could have given me.
What I would do is break up, because his ideas of what constitutes a desirable future are completely different to mine.
I would buy myself a house, with only myself on the deed. Yes, I would risk ending the relationship. Honestly, I'd end it now based on your description of things.
You two aren't on the same level. He isn't ready to leave and is trying to baby trap you. He's 35 years old, living with his parents and planning on starting a family while still there. He is against you buying a home. What is there left to think about? Love isn't everything. Logically, this relationship has run its course. He's refusing to grow up and is holding you back.
Buy the house. Do not put him on the deed if he's not paying half the down payment. See to it that the house is yours. Fiancé has no interest in buying the house. He shouldn't enjoy ownership of it.
End the relationship. Purchase your house. Don't fall for any change he'll sing about for the next few months. It's not real and he'll be looking for a way to lock you down.
Get your own place. Under his plan, you're financially trapped and 10 to 15 years away from being your in-laws' live-in carer.
Buy the house. His ego can fuck off. Why would you want to give up on your own dream to keep this guy happy? He won't move out of his parents' house. What about your privacy and comfort? Does he care about that? Please don't have children with this man-child. He is trying to make you dependent on him. Let me guess, he wants you to be a stay-at-home mom and be completely dependent on him. That way you have to do what he says and will never leave him.
I would buy the house and start building my own happy life. You are not compatible with your fiancé. He wants to live with his parents forever with no plans of adding additional space for you two to raise a family. I'm picturing you shouldering all the domestic labor once you move in. Also, he is pressuring you to get pregnant when you don't feel ready. You don't live with this guy, so there is nothing stopping you from ending this relationship today and moving on to live your life how you want to.
You're 30 years old. Buy the fucking house. No dick on the planet is good enough to justify turning your back on the opportunity to own real estate so you can live by mommy and daddy's rules. You are an adult. How long do you plan to subject yourself to this child?
Dump him. You'll be miserable living in his parents' house having no say in anything. Buy the house and ensure that if anything happens to you it passes into a trust for your future children only and no one from the father's side benefits. He's not much of a partner if he wants mama to make his meals and scrub his dirty underwear and tell him what a special boy he is after getting married. Where would you rank in importance? I can tell you. You won't like it. You'll be treated like an appliance. You'll serve a purpose. Like a toaster. You'll have no say. I wouldn't wish that on anyone.
Buy the house, find someone that is compatible with your goals. You have a chauvinist mama's boy for fiancé.
In this economy and housing market, if you can afford it and want it, then you should absolutely do it.
He's planned his parents' aged care already. He just didn't tell you yet cause he hasn't legally courted you. Buy the house and enjoy being single.
Get your own place. And FFS, don't get pregnant, and he sounds like the kind of guy who would baby trap a woman. So watch the BC for tampering. Sorry, I'm very judgy and unfair, but he wants to live with his parents after marriage? Only makes sense if he intends to marry the woman who will be the unpaid housekeeper for the parents.
Don't live your life as a permanent guest in your in-laws' home. If your husband doesn't want to leave his mommy and daddy, just know that they will be included in every decision, every aspect of your lives. Buy your property and dump the loser. Be happy.
Okay, I haven't read this yet, but just the title, no ma'am. I'd rather set myself on fire than live with someone's parents.
I'd buy my house and break off the engagement. I would not move in with his parents. And for how long? Your entire lives? No, thank you.
It is always going to hurt his ego to be with someone as awesome as you. You can have a whole life of this, or you can go out and get the life you deserve.
You obviously aren't compatible. Any one of the things you named is a good reason to break up, and you have an entire list.
Your dreams don't align. You're far more mature than he is. Run away. Do not have a child with him.
Your dreams are just as valid as his dreams and definitely more valid than his ego. Buy the house.
So, what do you think? Should she go for her dream home and risk the relationship? Or should she compromise and move in with her in-laws? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more real talk on relationships.